The following is a presentation of TFNN. Trade what you see with Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis. Good morning, everyone, from the offices of Duke & Duke, 100 South Broad Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, zip code 19174. As we look at the markets today, you'll see the DAX index, a perfect example of harmony and ABCD patterns. We're coming down, you notice, on the right-hand side there over the last few days. We've had this half-hour chart, of course. You see the last couple of days in there very easily. You've seen the three lower highs. Each high is equal to the other high as far as the amount of the bounce. The Fibonacci numbers are set up in there. Those of you that follow pattern recognition recognize this as the 1-3-5 pattern. Great news today, boys and girls. It's Christmas in February. Norm Winsky will be our guest at the half hour. We're in the full moon zone, so Norm will be on at the half hour to talk to us about that. But first of all, I wanted to take a little trip down memory lane here in a couple different ways. First of all, one of the things that I wanted to show you, the Elliott Wave folks came out with a special interim report today, and they were kind enough to, one of the Den folks was kind enough to forward it on to me and asked to discuss it. But what we'll take a look here is this is what they were showing. This is not the usual Elliott Wave, as you can see here. You see that little head and shoulders pattern that they have marked there, which is what you like to see, the right shoulder lower than the left shoulder, meaning it's more bearish. We had the breakdown, and you'll notice that we went up and we touched that 20-man line there. Boys and girls, it was like a prize fight in the 12th round of a championship fight yesterday. It really was. Let me show you the relationship that occurred as we were looking at these markets yesterday. Yesterday, we were talking about this on the show that watched the opening of the New York Stock Exchange Index because we were very, very close to the exact 61% retracement at 13,024. The high of the day was 13,025, and when that hit, the bell rang, and the Dow, after being up 100 and some points, dropped 300 and some points. S&P dropped 45 points, just like a rocket. I'm assuming that it hit that 61% retracement, and that's what triggered it. Because if you look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we were looking at pretty much the same type of thing happening, only the Dow Jones was making the 78% level. It missed it by half of 1%. On the Dow Jones. So that's a pretty steep figure. And do the work yourself, as Twentyman said, and you'll be able to see that it's right there. So I think that's what did not. Whether that's going to be the top for a while, I'm not really sure. And the good part about this, boys and girls, nobody else is either, because all it is probability. It's nothing more than that. There's nothing more to it than that. There really isn't. And, it's all about risk control and all the things that, we look for here. And we want to be watching a lot of different markets. But we've had a request here from one of our very favorite people from Philadelphia and to talk about the euro. We're going to bring up the euro here on an hourly chart because you get to see well over 6 weeks of it on here. And you'll be able to see, hold on one second here. Oh, today is David White's birthday. Happy birthday, David. May God bless. Too bad you weren't born yesterday or tomorrow. You'd only be about what? You'd only be about 8 years old, right? Anyway, that was. The fact is, that's the only second person I've ever met that was born on a leap year baby. Wow, that's crazy. Well, it's good crazy, I guess, but that's not fair to only have one birthday every 4 years. Let's take a look here at this euro. One second here. There we go. We're going to look here at this euro. The question was, where would be a good spot to short the euro from where we are right now and it looks like we're heading down to the 61% retracement. Where we are right now, the only place I'd like to sell it would be if it rallied up about 50 to 60 pips up to this 2780 level. That would be touching that breakdown of that line. It would also be a 61% retracement off of the high that we made 2 days ago up at the 2350 level. But the thing to keep in mind here, folks, is that big butterfly that's up there with that double top. That's a very important number, because if you recall on the long-term weekly chart, that is pretty much spot on the 61% retracement from 2014, and also a 1.618 expansion from 2015. So that's a really important number. But I think we'll get down to this 2150 level, actually 2160. Then we should bounce a little bit. But it looks like we're in the midst of a sell-off in this euro, and we'll see if that's going to be the scenario that it's going under right now. The weakest of all of these, of course, has been the British pound, and we talked about that, several times before. But we'll watch it very closely. Now, one of the advantages of doing a show like this is you have folks send in some really great charts, and I wanted to send one that came in from one of our folks across the pond over here, and this is the commodity. The CR, basically the derivation of the it's an equal weighted commodity index is what it is. I just wanted to show you the pattern because I happen to be involved with some of this here. This is a beautiful cycle pattern. Now I want you to look at these cycle, folks. You notice these little light blue lines that are there for the cycles. You know that they are not actually perfect. And I think they're off by just a little bit, but the amount that they're off is equal. So that just means that they're very close. And that's what we're looking at. But if you'll notice here, the highs that we have coming in here the lows we have are much higher than the previous lows. This is a very bullish chart long term. And you remember, we're talking 50 years, folks, going back to 1970. 1970 back there, that was the Russian grain robbery. You'll notice the high in 1980, that was the high in gold at 865. Then we pulled down into the time when we had the 9/11. And that was a big ABC that took us up into 2011, and now we've backed off. This is a very bullish chart, and it could be leaning towards higher commodity prices, which David White has talked about it, and so has Andy Hecht. And we have too, and then the soybeans continue to go higher because of the drought we have going on in South America. So all that is telling us that these things are looking like they want to move higher. Remember, we've had 6 years of bumper crops that Andy talked about earlier, and if we have anything less than a bumper crop, it's amazing. He gave a statistic that I heard yesterday. Actually, it was on the show again this morning with Tom O'Brien and with David setting in, is that there's 20 million new people every year coming on our planet, and they have to eat. When you got 7 billion, 20 million is not a lot, but 20 million when you're trying to feed them can be a really big deal. So we got to pay close attention to this, because any type of a crop failure means that you've got some real serious problems. So we'll take a look at it and see what's happening. But the grains still look higher. We're holding our longs, and take a break here. 877-927-6648. Stay tuned for Norm Winsky in 16 minutes.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profile So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. It's a special month at TFNN, and with market volatility back, we've decided to hold an open house in our Tiger's Den. For this month only, you can get a full 30 days of Tiger's Den membership without paying anything. The Tiger's Den is our interactive chat room where you can chat with other tigers and tigresses along with the TFNN hosts during each of their programs. For all of the details and to start your 30-day free trial to the Tiger's Den today, visit the front page of TFNN.com before this deal is gone. The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find the Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I would like to put up this chart of the monthly chart of silver going back to 1972. We're going back 50 years. You can see the cup and handle pattern that is there. Actually, it's a perfect cup and handle. And you know those are from Daily Graphs, which was Bill O'Neill, who started IBD, Investors Business Daily. But this is a beautiful chart. Boy, does this bring back a lot of memories. During those years, you can see from 1970 through 1980 when I was at Drexel. Boy, it was pretty hard not to make money if you own gold and silver, and that's what I own. So that's where the old blind hog had to pick up an acorn once in a while. I happened to be in an acorn patch at the time, so it was really a whole lot of fun. But I can see some of the trades that I did here. I can see the big rally in October of 1980, and that was that's when the Iranian ships hit the Iraqi nuclear power points. The fighter pilots, and World War III was breaking out, and Charles Osgood said gold will be up $2.65. By the time I got into the office, it was down $12, and you can see it dropped from $700 all the way down to I think the low was right around the low was around 2000. This is silver because silver made a higher bottom, but gold bottomed in 2002 at around 260. But I'm really bullish silver. All we need to do is to get it down about another buck, and I think it's going to be one of the best buying opportunities that we've seen in a long time. Now, will it get there? I'm not sure. But it's headed that way, and that's the main thing that I think is important. Let's take a quick look here at the gold market, because you get a lot of people, saying, is this the bottom in gold? And if we take a look at this chart here, this is just a 15-minute chart, because when you're watching these things, you want to be looking here at these. Hold on one second. You'll see the gold here. Yesterday we had the little ABCD pattern completing up at the 13 to 38 level, right at just a perfect ABCD right at the 50% level. And what we do last night, we made another beautiful ABCD pattern at 1323, and now we're trading, below the 1320 level. So this is telling us that we're still heading down in gold, and I believe there's going to be some pretty good support around the 1300 and I believe we'll break that out a little bit, because magical numbers, they don't hit on the exact numbers. very often, so we'll take a look at it. There's a lot of chatter going on in the Tiger Den this morning about the grain markets because everybody here at TFNN has been quite friendly to these grains, and they're going higher mainly because of the drought that we're having in Argentina. And it's not getting any better. The rain is just not coming. And if they have any trouble with their crop there, and we have any trouble with our crop here, and remember, we haven't even planted that puppy yet. That doesn't start till the end of next month. So you could be looking at some really big things. So you want to watch these things if they get to the break, and then we'll see it. We're less than $20 away now in the gold market to hitting that number. So, and here we are in that time zone for the full moon. So we'll be able to see that, and we'll be able to see what's going on. Okay, let's take another look at a couple of things that we really need to be watching that are also important. Here again, I wanted to share with you from one of my very, 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 very favorite students from 20 years ago, back in the old days of the old money show in New York. This young lady came up to me, and she had heard me speak, and she said, "I'm going to be at your front door on Monday to start to learn how to trade." And I said, "Sure, come on down." I was joking. I was actually joking, and she showed up. And we actually became very good friends after that time, and she's continued to do well. I just wanted to bring her chart to show you the Nasdaq that she's been looking at. Now remember, this is a monthly Nasdaq, and she's basically showing the patterns that we look at and the expansion that we had just up here with those parallel channels up at this 7,400 level in the Nasdaq composite comes spot on at some pretty major ratios. So there might be something to see if this is going to be a major top in this or not. But the channels is extremely important because these channels, when they break, they have a tendency to come down quite a bit. If you can notice way back in 2000 when we had the dot-com bubble, what happened there with that straight up channel. And the rate of change of those channels is very, very similar. So that's another degree of similarity or harmony that tells you that we're looking at pretty much the same thing as we're seeing these. So pay attention to it because it's interesting. The fact that we hit those perfect numbers yesterday in the New York Stock Exchange Index and the Dow Jones Industrial Index. Now, the main thing was, we didn't get anything like that in the Nasdaq Composite. It just gapped up, and we just kept running. So there was nothing like that in the Nasdaq at all. It was only in the big index that is the major stocks that made it do that. But the rest of them, certainly didn't show that similarity at any time at all. So it's something that I think that we really need to pay very close attention to, because remember, with that composite, then you're talking about these stocks like Amazon and Google and Facebook and all the others, these high price stock. That's the ones that push this thing into higher ground, and that's something that I think is we have to pay attention to it. But whether it means very much on a long-term basis, I don't know. But this chart of the Nasdaq is very, very important. It's got a lot of stuff that you have to pay attention to, especially since we're seeing it in the Nasdaq, which is the real index of what stocks are really doing. Now let's take a quick look here at Bitcoin, because we're getting some nice little patterns here that are beginning to tell us that, hey, this correction could possibly be over. Even though it gets bad news just about every day, you notice that this last little correction that we had just a couple of days ago came right down to a 382 retracement. It was equal to the last correction that it had. So if this thing gets above 12, you'll be looking at 15 or 16,000 per share in Bitcoin without too much trouble. So it's I don't think this does not look like a bubble chart, boys and girls. Bubble charts don't trade this way. Bubble charts have gaps in them and the tremendous downdrafts, and then sometimes quick up moves and stuff. But this has nothing of that. This is trading technically just like it were the S&P or gold or crude oil or anything like that. So you can't say this is a bubble on this chart, not from what I see. So that's the main thing. Steve Rhodes has posted some really great prices in the room here based on the TAS profile. And it looks like this 1313 and 1314 are going to have some pretty serious areas in to look at it. So we'll have to be looking at it. Now, tomorrow is March 1st, and the full moon comes in at 7:52 p.m. But we'll let Norm Winsky tell us that when he comes on in about 4 or 5 minutes. So I think we're going to get one more draft down in that gold, and then we should get at least a $34 rally from that level. And from that point, we'll have to look to see if we're going to, move higher or lower. But I got an eye on the silver, folks, because that's like sharks in shark-infested water. Because boy, when the blood hits that one, you want to be ready to buy because it could be a really, really good one to look at. So we'll have to keep an eye on that silver. We'll be doing gold too, but the silver, I don't trade silver that often. But when you get a low like that, you got to watch it. 877-927-6648.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters. In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we have Norm Winsky on the line. Norm, do you have a big spot there by your desk there in Naples? I'm going to put you on the spot here. One of our listeners. Good morning, buddy. Listen, one of our listeners has a very important question for you, and that is this. If God came to you and said you can only use one astro indicator, what would you pick?
Wow.
See, I told you it would be a spot, didn't I?
I guess you have to go with the moon, right? At least you could trade
Okay.
on a regular basis and find some decent trades on a regular basis that way, right?
Absolutely. You got the mic, you got the charts, the program's yours, my friend. Go right ahead.
Very good, sir. So I'm on page 1 of my notes, and I was on your show last, I believe, on February 12th, just a few days ahead of the solar eclipse, which was on the afternoon of the 15th at 4:05 p.m., just as New York was closing Eastern time. And let's go and see how that worked out. I highlighted some, generally a solar eclipse, by the way, is a special kind of new moon. And the general principle is new moons and full moons. We want to be watching financials, grains, and precious metals. And this solar eclipse, which occurred the afternoon of the 15th, also indicated because it was going to occur in the sign of Aquarius, I told you to keep an eye on copper. So let's go look at some charts now. Here's your S&P 500 top the next day. If we're within one trading day, I count that as a winner. Right? That's a good one. So anyway, so there we go. Midday on the 16th. That was a 4-day high for the S&P. Okay, not too bad. Here's your March. Now this is beautiful. This is if I were to write a textbook, I'd have to put this one in the textbook. Look at the copper. The copper has a big run right into the night of between the 15th and the 16th, wee hours, 4 a.m. on the 16th, and it makes its top there, and it hasn't been as high. It's been going down ever since. That's from the top there to about last night, about 13 handles. That's I think $3,250. Okay, so that's pretty nice. All right. I don't think you get it much better than that, right, Larry?
I don't think you can get any better than that, Norman. That's why we have you on here, because you've given us some great ones. And, of course, the first time you have a loser, you'll never be on again. So I don't want to put any extra pressure on you.
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, so and here's your, let's look at, I mentioned financials, so we looked at the stock market. Let's look at the currency. So here's your U.S. dollar index. It's just about as good as the copper. Look at that. There's your low there. At the you've been talking about this low, I think, for the last week or so. Got down the actual cash index, got to 88,283, and there it is right there, the night of the 15th, just a few hours after the actual exact solar eclipse. There it is. Okay, so these are 30-minute bar charts we're looking at. Here's your gold. I know you love gold, Larry. Look at that, 4:30 in the morning on this morning of the 16th, and there's your top there on your gold. Okay, right at what was that, 1363.60? No, 1364.40, right? Okay, so there we go. So this, I think this moon, there might be something to this moon, Larry.
I think you're right, Norm.
I think we might be onto something here, right? So anyway, and so if we're doing financials, we should look at T-bonds, and so the bonds probably weren't the best one of the, the ones I just showed you. Obviously, we had some tremendous ones there. But to be fair, we got to look at all of them. So here's your bonds, and the bonds did make a little bit of a top there on the 16th. Now here, the thing to take away from this chart, it's not the best example, is that one of my top rules, principles, is that these key times will give you key prices. So for example, here's the bonds making a top within that window, that solar eclipse window, making a top there. If you extrapolate out into the future, you may end up with a very good resistance level there. And look at that level there that we topped on the 16th. About a week later, there you go. You're making a top right there, almost to the tick. You see that?
Mm-hmm. It's very clear.
Thank you. All right, so I'm moving ahead now. What's coming up in the future here, Larry? I asked to come on your show in advance of the full moon coming up here in, as you pointed out, tomorrow night. And so what market should we be looking at? We have our usual, as they say, round up the usual suspects. I think that is that Casablanca or something, round up the usual suspects. So we have our financials, grains, and precious metals. But because now the full moon will be in the sign of Virgo, and the sun will be in Pisces, we want to look at those markets associated with those signs. So that'll be beans and oil. Okay, so yep, and so there we go. So here's your crude oil, And as of these charts are as of last night. And so you can see how the crude oil has pulled back here, and these two green lines toward the bottom here, just below this little channel line, are the ones of 50% retracement of the last up move. And the next one is the 618 retracement. So if we can pull down just a little bit more on this crude oil, we might have a good a trade setup, And so, I like to look for the extremes. You saw these other charts I just showed you; they were all at extremes at the key time, So now we're going to go down and look at soybeans, and here's your beans have been going up, 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 as you've been mentioning. I guess it's Argentina doesn't have any rain, and so the beans have been going up. But what I think we might want to notice here is we had a nice up channel here until just a few days ago. And now it's showing a little bit loss of momentum here, and so we're kind of chopping around here. If we can go up and hit this top of this channel here in about one more day, we might be putting in a short-term high on the beans.
That makes good sense. They've been up for quite a while.
1070, maybe 1080 maximum, would be my guess, right? So give it about another day and see if, kind of chops around, gets up there, but kind of loses momentum. And then you might be looking at a top in the beans. Okay, that's why I went through this stuff fast. Anybody have any questions or anything? I'm kind of at, I can't go
Norm,
too much.
I've got a question here for you, Norm, that someone's asked us because they subscribe to your fractals and they're quite impressed, but what your fractals do. And do you watch the fractals as you're getting ready to place the trade? I know you've done a great deal of research on these, and it certainly looks interesting. But
they're good for long-term forecasting. So if I see a big turning point on my fractal model and it lines up with my shorter-term Astro, then you got one more. The old expression about you get all your ducks lined up, right? So that's one more duck, right? So yep, and yep. Also do the intraday stuff too on the Astro stuff, which works out pretty well too. Often can get the turns down to within a few minutes.
It'd be nice if you would alert us if you see something happening in silver, because I have a really bullish scenario for silver. So if you see a nice fractal getting ready to happen on silver, let me know, and I'll let the folks know in the den. And of course, it doesn't work, you're going to take all the responsibility, correct?
That's correct.
That's good, as long as we understand that.
You can shoot.
But anyway, if you
see it, sunrise or something. You better wait till
we don't waste any bullets at people our age. We use the news.
Okay. Right.
Anyway, if you see something in that fractal, let us know, because I certainly like the silver the way it's acting. Anyway, go ahead, Norm. I'm sorry for interrupting. Oh, we got a break coming up here. We got to pay a few bills. And we get back, I want to talk a little bit more about the fractals and also a little bit about your Astro course, Norm.
Okay.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
TFNN has put together the finest programming lineup each trading day, featuring some of the most knowledgeable and respected financial minds in the nation to educate traders and investors. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we broadcast 8 hours a day, starting at 9 a.m. as Larry Pesavento kicks us off with Trade What You See. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we broadcast 11 hours. Get an early and healthy start to your day as Nico and Paige bring you Living a Primal Lifestyle. Then catch Andy Hecht at 5 p.m. with the Commodities Hour, following the Tom O'Brien Show. Swim lessons from TD Ameritrade Think or Swim is now at 11 a.m., followed by Basil Chapman at 12 noon. See the TFNN program lineup via the link on the front page of TFNN.com to get a complete overview of our TFNN shows and hosts. And keep TFNN's Tiger TV tuned in on your mobile device, PC, or Mac for the latest financial news and information throughout the broadcasting day. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The Bull Bear Binary Option Hour, brought to you by Nadex. Next on TFNN.
Okay, we're back, folks, and we're with Norm Winsky of Astro-trading. Norm, I meant to tell you, I got a really nice email from someone in the UK really giving you some great accolades. I sent you a copy of it. I don't know if you got it, but he said he was using some of your timing things, and they were working out great. So I don't know if he received it or not, but he certainly gave you some really nice things to say. So let's move on and talk about...
You want me to comment on that? I did get that.
Oh, good. Yeah, please do.
He said he combined your work with the ABCD pattern and so forth with my Astro timing and nailed a turn in the market during the day yesterday. I think it was within 1 to 2 minutes, and that was a low in the middle of the day. I think 1:25 Eastern, something like that. With could be off a minute, and that led to a 13-handle rally.
So that's good. That's good.
So he was a happy camper.
Okay. Go ahead. You want to continue on? Tell the folks that this is the beginning of the month coming up here. So don't you have your class starting pretty soon that you usually get?
Classes next week, and my monthly letter will be coming out over this weekend, and they can get all that for free. Just contact me. Please contact me in the next day or two, though, because I'm going to be on deadline here. At the end of the week, I'm working every night on the letter as it is, and so I can talk to you for a few minutes and get you in the queue for the free class and the free letter coming up next week. So contact me right away if you would, please. And the next, today and tomorrow would be the time to do this. Here's my contact info here at the bottom of the screen. I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida. There's my phone number, 239-594-3939. There's my email, nwinsky@embarkmail.com. There's my Skype, norm.winsky. For the folks who are new here, I've been studying this market since I was 15 years old. I'm now 67, so I'm kind of Larry's junior protege.
From Terre Haute, Indiana. You were from Franklin, Indiana, though, weren't you?
Frankfort,
Larry, yeah, okay, yeah.
Home of the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Home of the hot dogs, yep. I did go to your, we are fellow alumni of the great Indiana State University there in Terre Haute, yep. So anyway, so I've been doing this a long time. I got an inheritance during my college years there and parlayed that into enough money to buy a membership on the fledgling CBOE in early 1975. And right out of school, I moved to Chicago and became a market maker. I was on the floor there for 12 years, yeah. And then I was in my 30s and decided I was getting too old for jumping up and down, yelling and screaming there on the floor, so I just started envisioning a soft chair somewhere warm and sunny, like in Florida, So that over the next several years, I worked on getting there, getting here.
How long have you lived in Florida now, Norm?
24 years. Love it here.
Well, yeah, you moved to Florida when I moved to Tucson.
There you go.
I moved here in '94, so I moved here. Walt Ressert used to be here, and I used to come to visit Walt all the time, and he was always big into cycles. He never did much into the cycles of astrology except for the full moons and new moons. He got into that quite a bit, but he was a traditional cycle guy. I don't know if you ever met him or not, but
I knew Walt. I met him back in like 1979. I think his wife, you knew probably better than I did.
Teresa, yep.
I think she wasn't she an astrologer? That's what I'd heard anyway.
Yes, she was an astrologer. She certainly was. Yeah, really nice lady. And I don't know what she's doing now, but her son Jerome is still doing some cycle work, following in his dad's footsteps.
Didn't they have two boys, two sons?
Yeah. Yep, they had two sons.
Well, the two sons were commodity brokers, and for a while they were working with my wife while she was brokering there in downtown Chicago.
Yeah, the problem was Jerome got involved with Russell Wassendorf of PFG, and that just ruined him, along with myself and a whole bunch of other people. But that's neither here nor there. I tell you, to this day, I still don't understand how that happened, because I knew that guy really well. At least I thought I did, but who knows anymore. Norm, someone's asked a question about trading cattle. Is there any aspects that look really interesting with Astro with the cattle?
I'd have to go into the March letter, and I don't have that. I haven't done that work yet. I'll be doing that here in the next day or two. Okay. For March, I'll be doing that for next several weeks. So they need to get a hold of me right away, and we'll get them in the queue there, and I'll even tell them the secret of how I do that. The what's behind how we indicate, how we find out when cattle's going to have a big turn.
That's very good.
I tell the story about how I one of the first cattle trade I ever did was in the mid '80s, and I was looking in the ephemeris is your table of planetary positions. I was looking in there, and there was a big thing happening in the planets there that told me to take a look at cattle. I looked at the cattle. You might remember this in the mid '80s. There was a cattle crash, and the cattle were jumping off the cliff, Larry, and they were going straight down. I said, wow, look at that. And I went back and looked. It was like they were approaching 20-year lows. I said, wow, I should get in there and buy cattle. So I ended up buying this experiment, buy a cattle contract. And 3 days later, we found out that there was something called a Chernobyl nuclear power plant meltdown in the Ukraine. And then they said all the radiation is going to pour out, and that all European cattle are going to glow in the dark, and all of a sudden the big oversupplying cattle was gone overnight.
Hey, Norm, we have a question for someone about the Treasury bonds. Do you see anything really dramatic here happening in Treasury bonds over the next few days or weeks?
That would be something I'd have to. When I have the February letter done, I can answer that. So they need to get a hold of me. I'm sorry to do that, but
that's okay.
We're at the end of my cycle here,
I understand you dodge the questions just like I try to do. Anyway, no, I can understand that, because you certainly want to be able to, to have some information before you answer the questions. That's always good.
I know that Mercury is going to be prominent in March, and that has to do with grains. So I know the grains are going to be active in the month of March. And so that's one of the things I noticed popped up when I'm working on March,
Well, that's very important, because we're coming into planting season now, and with we've had 6 years of surplus crops, so we're probably due for something bad to happen. So we really need to keep an eye on these grains, because those are the situations where you can get these, really dramatic moves. And I really want to hear that. So when you get that, maybe we'll have you on as a little spot show next week if you get that done for the grains, because we want to watch that very, very closely, especially coming into March when we start doing some planning for corn and some other things. So we got to wait for that.
Just for example, Larry, the third week of the month, y'all know you'll love this. Mercury turns retrograde.
Oh, that's always, Mercury's always in. Mercury was on those tablets from the Sumerians talking about corn, going back 6,000 years ago that Dr. Andrew Lowe talked about in his book, The Evolution of Technical Analysis. So there's something to this stuff. It's just trying to get a handle on it to quantify the risk that you're using when you trade. So that's really good. Listen, we've got the commercial coming up. I want to thank you for
my course.
Let's do that. We got to pay a few bills here for Mr. O'Brien, and then when you get back, we got a couple minutes to talk about your course. Okay?
Yes, sir.
You can give folks what the outline looks like and everything, and we'll see what it looks like. We've got the break coming here in a few seconds, and as soon as that comes up, we'll talk about Norm's course. Now, is it still come with the money-back guarantee, Norm?
Well, the class does. That's my introductory
Yes, okay.
class. All right, Norm. You got the music going. We'll wait for the concert to end, and then we'll talk again.
You got it. Norm Winsky, Astro-trading, 877-927-6648.
You don't buy into that nonsense, do you? You know you can't time the markets. I didn't. And in 2006, I set out on a mission to do just that. I began by surrounding myself with the greats like Tom O'Brien, Larry Pesavento, David White, and Basil Chapman. I read countless books and even looked to the moon and planets for answers. Now, we both know that trading is 80% mental. So I learned the exact tools that Tony Robbins uses to overcome fear. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability. And last March, the folks at Timers Digest began tracking my newsletter signals, which through January 18, 2018, placed me as the #1 gold timer for that exact time frame. Now, I can't officially be recognized until Timers Digest has a full year of signals, but clearly I've learned how to time the markets, and I'd like to teach you how to do that as well. Subscribers to Mastering Probability gain access to my live and archive workshops where I show you the exact same patterns that earned me this #1 ranking. If you're looking for great market calls and an education, sign up for Mastering Probability today at TFNN.com.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks. We're talking with Norm Winsky. Norm, in the background is a hailstorm here in Tucson. We have snow on the mountains behind the house here, so the weather's turned extremely cold, and I just heard the top of my roof almost explode because of the fact that there's so much hail. Anyway, tell the folks about your class, Norm.
Okay, I have a free introductory class which you have to do if you want to get the letter. Otherwise, I would send you the letter and then you wouldn't know what you were looking at. I teach you how to use the letter. There's power tools in my letter that will make you as smarter than the top people in Wall Street. You don't have to be smart. You just have to learn how to use these tools. You don't have to be smarter than a fifth grader. I promise you that, okay? And so get a hold of me. The class is free. And if you mention Larry, it comes with a money-back guarantee. That's a joke, okay? And so anyway, that's it. It's free. It's all free. You call me up right away. I'm going to sit here by my phone and my computer here for about a half an hour and wait to see if anybody wants to call me. And if they call me right away, you'll be in the. I already got some people booked for next week. I got a few more spots left, maybe about 3 more spots left to do that. And you get the class and the letter free. Also, if you get involved in this and decide you like to learn this, if you're a Gann student, you need to learn astrology. That's the big secret of Mr. Gann. He was an astrologer. I'll get into that when we chat on the phone or on Skype, and I'll tell you all about that. But you need to learn astrology. I have an astrology course that runs about 6 months, and so that's all one of my offerings. And I also have the big picture letter, where I give you the key dates for, as I showed you earlier, where the markets are going to turn, likely to turn. And then I also I have an intraday letter where I give you the exact times during the day when the markets are likely to turn within a few minutes. So looking forward to helping some of your folks there, Larry. Any questions from the Tiger Den or anything like that?
No, everybody seems to be quite happy today. One question is when you're going to be on again, and I guess we'll at least do maybe a quick spot next week, and then also possibly when we have the next new moon, which will be in about, 14 days?
Something like that. That sounds fine to me.
All right, Norm, thanks for joining us today. Norm Winsky, Astro-trading, Naples, Florida. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks.